Enter meeting. Dear students, yesterday we had a discussion on liberty, uh, feminist perspective. We had a discussion on liberty from the point of view of liberal perspective, and then we had a discussion on liberty from Marxist perspective, and then yesterday we had a discussion on liberty from the perspective of feminism. What feminism was and how women has been suppressed, how feminism expresses concern and resorts to concerted action to change the situation, to change the unequal position of women with that of men. Today, we are going to have a discussion on no equality. Liberty and equality are very closely related. Only when human beings are treated equally, then they will be given liberty. Without equality, liberty is not possible many a time, and therefore the close related topic is equality. It is very closely related to liberty. Now today, let us have an understanding, a deeper understanding of equality. What is equality? Many people express the doubt that people born with the different capacities and different physical capacities and mental capacities, and they cannot be equality. Then why we should consider human beings are equal? What is the need for equality? And why how it has become a modern concept, how traditionally equality has been perceived, that we will learn today. How equality you know has come into existence, how equality has become important in almost all the modern societies, and also the necessity for equality. Let us have a discussion today. uh, until 18th century. So today, before going to have a discussion on liberal perspective, first let us understand what is equality. Until 18th century, now until 18th century, it was assumed that human beings are unequal by nature and that there was a natural human hierarchy. That is how traditional societies existed. You take any traditional culture, there used to be lot of inequality between human beings and also between women and men. Women are always considered to be weaker because of their physical structure, and that was highlighted to exercise domination of men, uh, to exercise domination by men over women. And also people who acquired wealth, who became victorious, or who were dare enough became masters, and who were defeated in the war or in the fight, in the battle of life, became lower human beings, or considered to be lesser human beings. In traditional societies, that is how inequality arose. And generally till 18th century, the inequality was the order of the day. But in 16th and 17th century, when modern period began, you should understand, what do you understand that modern period here means? Man became center of the society, and his rational thinking became prominent, and it's the rational thinking of human being was focused, was stressed upon. And that is how modern period began. Especially you should know the how the concept of equality became very focused and very important. These thinkers, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Jacques Rousseau, these were great political philosophers who laid foundation for equality, the modern equality, how human beings are equal naturally, they are born equal, and they possess no natural rights. John Locke said there are fundamental natural laws like right to property, right to life, and right to freedom. These are the rights that everybody is right is capable of enjoying, and therefore he wanted all the human beings to be alike. And Thomas Hobbes, during state of nature, that is when state and society was not established, human beings fought one another on equal footing, and they entered into contract to create the state, and state was given absolute power so that regularity can be maintained. And Jacques Rousseau, he spoke of state of nature being equal. There was no inequality, everybody was be equal. Only after the emergence of family and private property, lot of inequality came into being, and that is how inequality came. And that is and he talked about general will, that the collective benefit should have the authority and rule the human beings, treating everybody equal. That is how these were the great philosophers who laid foundation for the modern concept, that is equality. Um, then in modern times, and particularly since the American and French Revolution. American Revolution happened in 1776, and French Revolution happened in 1789. And the earlier thinker just now we talked about, were responsible for American and French revolutions. They provided an ideology for these revolutions. And French Revolution is based on three famous values: equality, liberty, and fraternity. These were the values for which French Revolution happened, and since then every democratic country consider these values as very important constituent parts of any democracy on earth. The principles of equal dignity and respect is now accepted as minimum standard. See, feudalism came down, feudalism declined, and many kingdoms disappeared, and monarchical form of governments have been disappeared. With this, especially the monarchical system of government and feudalism, when these the trends were disappeared, were absent, or were on decline, the modern concept, this is equality, equal dignity, and dignity of human being is very important, and all human beings should consider dignity as important, and therefore all human beings are equal. So the principle of equal dignity and respect is now accepted as minimum standard and has been taken up in modern constitutions and Declaration of Human Rights by United Nations Organization in 1948. So since that time, the right to equality and equal dignity of every human being has been considered to be one of the important values of modern democracies and constitutions. uh, Now, after knowing the emergence of the concept of equality, now we will try to understand what are the essential features of equality, how we should understand equality, in what perspective we should understand. Let us have a look at the essential features of equality. Uh, Now, the first essential, one of the essential features of equality is equality as a claim of right. Equality is a prescriptive term, not a descriptive one. It doesn't describe, equality as such. Equality is a kind of, value which prescribes that human being should live this way. Human beings should have equality as an objective because of the dignity of every human being. We argue that human beings must be treated as equal, not that they are in fact equal. By nature, people are born with different capacities of mind and body. They are never unequal, but they should be treated as equal. So that is important here. So it's a kind of right. It is a claim of right. Equality is a claim of right. And equality as a modern idea, with the beginning of scientific age, that is the scientific age began now since Renaissance moment. And because of the scientific age, man learned to control natural phenomena by rational and empirical knowledge of nature. So he started observing the nature, and he started finding the principles behind the functioning of the nature. And those principles, are utilized, and he has invented so many things, and he has changed the natural course of human history to his advantage. And this paved the way for removing such, social inequalities which are considered to be natural, but they can be alterable, like natural laws. uh, as were This paved the way for removing such social inequalities as were not reasonable, and which were also removable by human effort. Now, human effort and his concerted effort has led to the invention of so many things, and which have made the life of a human being so comfortable. And which was considered to be this inequality, which was considered to be so natural, can also be altered, and can also be altered through human effort, concerted human effort. So this entire idea is a modern idea after the beginning of scientific age. Equality as an idea of social change. We know that health and bodily strength can be improved by proper nutrition. Mental makeup can be considerably developed by proper education and training. So whatever is there, naturally, society, there is a natural, social organization, which which happens to be existing naturally, can be altered, can be changed. Human beings are born with different mental and bodily capacities, but those bodily capacities and mental capacities can be improved through education or by providing health and training. So whatever is there socially, naturally, that can be changed. So you can have a kind of equality by reducing inequalities of mind and body through education and training. Essential for social justice and liberty. liberty remains insignificant in the absence of equality. If human beings are not treated equal, then it is difficult to have, liberty. uh, Social distinctions can be based only upon, public utility. The essential Another essential character of equality is that, social distinctions can be based only upon public utility. Inequality is an issue so long as authority is exercised in the general interest of the society. This is very important. Generally, when we talk about equality, people say that, the people in authority will have more, unequal position from that of their fellow human beings, and they are having higher power and authority. They exercise authority, and that authority shows the inequality of the human beings. But here we should understand that authority is given to that man to have a kind of, general interest, to protect the general interest of the society. For example, COVID disease is there now. It is, it is a great concern of all entire humanity. Now, a police officer is exercising an authority that you are not wearing a mask, and he will fine you. He will fine you about 1,000 rupees. Then, so that authority, even though that authority is exercised arbitrarily, but that is a necessity because of the larger interest of the society. If you wear the mask only, then that will ensure, that others won't get affected by the disease. So for the sake of, general interest of the society, that authority is acceptable. So that social distinction, will have no problem, because that is, necessary, that is so required to have, a to have a social interest, protected. uh, Equality does not imply literal equality. This is very important. It doesn't imply literal equalization, that you are not making, everybody equal. What does it mean? It means that it implies, giving equality of opportunities for the development of personal qualities and capacities. It does not mean equality of outcome. So this is very important. You are providing equal opportunities so that everybody will have equal chance of development, equal chance of developing his inner abilities. So that is important. We should understand equality from that aspect. It doesn't mean, making equal everything. It's not that. It's not possible. Natural equality. Human beings are not equal in their physical and mental capacities, beauty and talents, but their physical, emotional, and intellectual needs are similar. This is important here. Uh, the Now we are, discussing the types of equality. Uh, Earlier, the important characteristic features of, equality have been discussed. Now let us have a discussion of types of equality. How many types of equalities are there? Let us see. The first one is natural equality. During the state of nature, as contractual philosophers said, human beings were equal. And but because human beings, born with the different capacities and different, mental and physical capacities, but every human being is having same emotional, intellectual, and physical need. And because of this, similarity among all the human beings about physical, emotional, intellectual needs. So every human being is having the capacity to have a fully developed physical, emotional, and intellectual, necessities. So that is why all human beings are, equal, even though there are physical and mental inequalities, but their needs are similar. So that is why human beings are equal. They are naturally considered to be equal. Now, another important equality, civil and legal equality. Civil equality implies availability of civil rights. What are the civil rights? Right to life, right to speak, right to religion, right to family, right to education, right to work. These are the rights. These rights enable a human being to lead a contented or a peaceful life in the society. And if every human being in the society will have these, rights without any discrimination on the basis of caste, color, creed, place of birth, religion, and sex. The law will provide all these rights to every human being without any discrimination. That is what civil and legal equality. So law considers every human being, equal. A law doesn't show any discrimination based on caste, color, creed, place of birth, religion, and sex. Then everybody will enjoy the civil rights and lead his life peacefully. And another important equality, type of equality, political equality. Political equality implies that all citizens should have equal political rights and equal access to all offices of authority. So political rights means every individual will have right to vote, right to contest elections, right to criticize the government, and is having equal access to all offices of authority. So that is, political equality. This makes a democracy, a successful democracy. And this political equality is the basic need or basic necessity or basic future of any democracy. uh, then social equality. Another important type of equality is social equality. Social equality stands for equality of status and absence of class distinctions and other discriminations. So in society, generally, if you take any society, the people, do not have, all the people do not have equal status. Many people, there is a lot of inequality in the social status of individuals and also men and women. And this is, this is, inbuilt or very entrenched, inequality that exists in every society. uh, because of this inequality, people suffer. Women suffer, and the people who are considered to be lower, of who are having lower social status, are bound to suffer. This, social inequality is generally based on caste, class, color, creed, and race. So this makes the human beings' lives, very difficult. The social equality stands for thus no equality of status and absence of class distinction and other discrimination. Economic inequality. Economic equality. There is a lot of economic inequality. Does it mean that, economic equality means making everybody equal, or the property of all human beings is made, equally distributed? It doesn't mean like that. Economic equality means the elimination of vast inequalities in income, property, and wealth. Economic equality is considered as the basis of social and political equalities. So when a, democracy emerges, the political democracy is possible by giving voting rights, by giving everybody to contest elections. But that political equality will have no meaning if there is no economic equality. When people suffer from poverty and unemployment, they are not able to participate in, in governance or in the state activities. When majority of the people, because of their poverty and other economic constraints, when is not able to participate in political activities, that democracy can never be successful. Therefore, economic equality means the elimination of vast inequalities. Historically, a few sections of the society have been possessing lot of wealth and property. And when democracy or when political independence is given to a country, only those sections of the people would occupy all public offices and all the offices in the government, and they dominate again. Their domination will increase and the poor will remain poor. Therefore, economic equality means elimination of vast inequalities. In liberal democracies, there will be progressive taxes, and the society is welfare oriented state, which gives health and education to the poor, so that poor will develop, so that poor will have every opportunity to develop. So the economic inequality is very, very important for political and social democracy. uh, this is no this is how we should understand equality, the characteristic features of equality, and also the types of equality, and what do you mean by equality. This is how we should understand equality. This concept is very, very important. Tomorrow we will have a discussion on equality from the perspective of liberalism, and also from the perspective of Marxism. So we should understand the concept of equality from liberal perspective and Marxist perspective. That we will take up tomorrow. Thank you very much.